Welcome to the Elevate podcast, brought to you by the Registered Master Builders. Each week we explore the ideas and practices that help us get the best from our businesses, our teams and ourselves. I'm your host, Ryan Castle. We talk to experts, advocates and business owners in the construction industry to share their knowledge, insights and experiences to help you build a better business and enjoy a better life. In addition to the podcast, now let the business building begin. Faye, welcome along to the Elevate Master Builders podcast. Great to have you here. We're going to talk a bit about House of the Year today.
Thank you very much.
Look, before we dive into House of the Year, let's learn a little more about you. Some fast fact questions.
Okay.
Are you a breakfast or dinner person?
Breakfast.
Breakfast. Have you got a go-to?
Scrambled eggs on toast.
Oh, that's a goodie. Okay. On holiday, would we find you bungee jumping or on the pool lounger with a cocktail?
Probably in the Catlins.
Well, what would you be doing there?
Playing in the surf.
Nice. Good spot. Alrighty. Most comfortable in trainers or heels?
Trainers. Docs, actually. Doc Martens.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, is there some concert stories that go along with the docs?
Possibly,
if they could talk?
Possibly, but not for the podcast. Yeah.
We might explore those later.
Yeah.
Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Marginal. We'll keep going though.
Yeah.
Are you an early riser or a night owl?
Early riser.
What time did you get up this morning?
5:50.
Is that pretty standard kind of time?
Not quite.
Not quite, a little bit earlier.
A little bit earlier this morning.
To catch.
Yeah.
And entertainment-wise, would we find you watching a thriller or a comedy?
Probably a thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Great. Hey, thanks for those, Faye. Let's talk House of the Year, a very important event on the calendar of Master Builders. And it's something that is not just the event itself, it's not just the awards ceremony. There's a huge, process and number of engagements that go in. And part of our podcast today is to help our audience, our Master Builders members, understand what's involved, how they can be involved, what the entry process is like, what they might think about before they enter, how they go about the entry process. So we're going to cover a fair bit of ground, which is really good. Before we hit that, maybe a bit of background on yourself, your involvement in the industry. So you're an architectural designer.
Yes.
Tell us, how did you get started in that zone?
Well, my brother was actually a draftsman as well, so I started training in the early 80s, and I've been working in the industry since 83. So I'm pretty lucky. I love my job, love the profession, and probably wouldn't do anything else unless it was art. So I've been self-employed since the mid-90s and have had the privilege of being involved in Master Builders House of the Year competition for 6 years as a judge on the road. So I'm pretty lucky to be able to do that.
Indeed. So what's the most important room in a house?
Kitchen.
Always. Every good Kiwi party revolves around the kitchen, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah, and certainly living, I know that certainly our family, we spend the most time in the kitchen, hanging out there and chatting. It's the hub of the home.
It's changed over recent decades from being in the back room to actually being centre focus. It
is quite funny when you explore older houses and kind of this tiny little kitchen tucked away in the back, and now they're very much front and centre, aren't they?
Yeah, as recent as the 1990s, we still had kitchens sort of tucked away. So it's good to see. Focus. Hub of the home.
Right. Let me ask you this one. You've been involved in House of the Year for how long?
6 years.
6 years, okay. When I say what's the one house that stands out for you in those 6 years, which one comes to mind?
There's a beautiful one built by Ben Redmond on the East Coast. Designed by Christian Anderson. It was a harmonious, fantastic job of everybody working together. You could just see every trade, everybody involved in that project had a passion, fantastic owners, but the builders are sub-trades. It was just the most stunning house that I have been in. It was wonderful, yeah.
Brilliant. So I guess that's one of the treats of being a judge on House of the Year, you get to see some amazing properties.
Look, it's an honour to be invited in through a front door of somebody's home, and there are homeowners who are passionate, so proud of their builders, and they range from retired couple in their 80s in Invercargill to a multi-million-dollar property behind a gated community in Russell. I mean, all the homeowners that you meet are really proud, so it's an honour to actually go into those houses and actually see what the builder has created for them. It's a privilege. Yep.
Okay, so tell us about the House of the Year, the competition itself. It is a very important part of the Master Builders calendar.
It's one of their flagship competitions.
Yeah.
And this year they celebrate their 30 years of the competition, which is huge for the industry. So it's a competition based on 2 judging regimes. We judge regionally, and then there's another competition where it's judged nationally. So what we have is a builder judge and an architectural judge on the road together as a panel, and now they go into one region and judge all the categories in that region. So that's been a change over the last couple of years, but we found it's working well because you've got an architectural judge and a builder judge. If the architectural judge gets overexcited about the architecture, the builder judge brings the scores back into proportion, and if the builder gets overexcited over other things, the designer will bring them in. So it gives us a balance of the 2 scores. Perfect combination.
And various categories, and you might be able to give us a quick high level of sort of some of the categories.
So it's based in probably about 4 or 5 areas. We've got renovations, which has got 3 price points. We've got new build, which has got price points from up to $450 to over $2 million. Volume build, which is something that's been introduced in the last probably 4 years.
Right.
A couple of volume build categories to accommodate the volume builders. We've got a multi-unit, which is also being brought in to accommodate the market. And then we also have show homes and builders' own home. So there's a reasonable spread of categories that the builders can enter. And those categories are looked at every year to make sure we get an even spread of houses. I think when I first joined the competition, we had an up to 250 category. Now our lowest category is up to 450. So they are moderated every couple of years to go with the market.
Okay. And as a judge, I assume you're adjusting your criteria. So when you're judging the architectural of a up to 450K spend, you're bringing a very different set of criteria to judge that than you are when you're judging a $3 million home.
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
We do have quite a stringent judging process that we work through, and we all do judges training every year where we get together for a couple of days, run around in teams, judge houses, where our scores are moderated. We're asked direct questions if we are out of kilter. So we do a lot of judge training together. So when we look at houses, there are certain things we look at, and they do vary a little between price points or renovations and new work, but we do look a lot at the same things across the board. Yeah.
Okay. And the process to become a judge, what's involved there?
You are nominated or selected or asked to put your name forward, and then you do partake in judge training days. But you've also got to be of a reasonable calibre, and because you are judging your peers, and you need to be up to date with stuff, products, industry, how it's working, things like that. So there is actually an application process, and we do actually apply every year. It's not an automatic rollover to just be once you're a judge, you're always a judge. Right. You go through. So there is a certain calibre and criteria that it has to be for a judge. Okay.
And you mentioned the regional awards and then the national awards.
Yes.
Do you have to win your regional event to go to the national event? Is that how it works?
So what actually happens is, that's sort of two different competitions. The regional ones, every region has provided they meet the criteria, category winner for residential, for new home build and for renovations. Then the top 100 go through to what's called the national competition. The top 100 have just been announced, but they are the top 3 in every category, provided they're gold, and then that works down until it gets to the top 100 after that. So there's automatically probably about 45 that go through under category top 3, and then it comes down as a points allocation. So on a high year when there's a lot of very top deserving things, the cutoff will be quite high, and then on a year where there's not a lot of really good entries, it will be lower. There's no figure that says that gets you through. It's just literally the top 100.
Okay. And we're a competitive bunch, us Kiwis, and regionally we're quite competitive. Is there any one region that's got the sort of stranglehold on winning the competition nationally?
Auckland might say Auckland. As I'm from Canterbury, they might say Canterbury. It goes across the board. It can vary dramatically. It's really points-based. And as the national judges go through the country as well and look at the top 100, they have that opportunity of judging everything, and that's when the national competition comes from. So Auckland and Christchurch are the two bigger regions, and they can have, I think this year Auckland had over 100 entries, Christchurch I think was up around the 90. So obviously with a greater number of entries, there's a greater percentage that will be gold or top 100 gold reserve.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you quite good at taking your Canterbury eye patch off when you come to judging?
Absolutely.
Oh, good to hear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what's been quite good of recent, we've had Auckland judges into Christchurch and Christchurch judges into Auckland, so we keep a good balance for that. But yeah, no, quite good at taking my eye patch off. Yep.
Good to hear. Alrighty. Help us understand what's involved in the entry process, and maybe when should builders start thinking about entering in terms of the construction timeline. Give us some insight there.
Okay, so you've got from code of compliance 2 years to enter the property. But what I would say is that House of the Year actually do what's called a heads up, where they go around the regions to each branch and do a heads up evening. And I really recommend anybody to go to that. Even if you have entered, you'll still gain information out of it. So it's an event where normally there's a judge will go around as well. They'll do a bit of a presentation on how the competition works, how you can get marketing out of it, how you go about entering, from things that we look for, faults and stuff like that. And what's also really good with those events, I presented some of them myself, is that it's questions from the floor. So we'll do a presentation, but then someone will put their hand up and go, I've got a house that, the homeowners have put really bad colours on the inside, what should we do about it? Or I've got another one where the landscaping is not fit. So it's often comments from the floor that actually are more beneficial.
Yes.
And then also some of the people who have not entered before actually get a chance to talk to people who have entered, which is that sharing the knowledge thing, which is really good. So heads up, I'd say, even if you've been before and now enter, I'd go back again, would be my promo for that. And they run from entries open early January, and then they close towards the end of February. And the heads up, I think some might even start before Christmas, but definitely January, February. So contact your branch to find out when they're around town.
Right.
Then obviously you apply online. There's an entry guide that you apply. So don't be put off by the entry process or doing the entry forms, because you are required to do an entry brief for your entry. But I must say, I've judged a house that got supreme regionally that I think the builder wrote one line. So don't be put off about having to do a brief. And also go back to your architect, ask them for some tips or get some advice from your branch. They will certainly be able to help you out. So, do the process. Also give us the information that they ask for. We need the plans. But on the day when the house is actually judged, some builders now are giving us like a little PowerPoint where they might show 20 photos of flash stages of ground cut, piles in, foundation down, steel frame up. I mean, a lot of us are construction nerds, so
Yes.
we actually do get quite excited about seeing exposed portal frames. Might sound kind of weird, but a picture tells 1,000 words. So if you give us a bit of a slideshow is really good. Other builders now will give us a few pages with some photos printed out and some notes and things like that, especially if they're entering the sustainable. It could give us a sort of written rundown and stuff. So that's how you enter. Obviously, renovations, there's a little bit more information required because you've got to give us the before and the after plans and photos so that we know what's actually happened with it.
So Faye, let me ask a question there. So there's the actual entry form that
Yes.
they fill in that gets submitted, and then is there an initial selection process that happens then before you go and do on-site judging, or does every house that enters get...
So it goes through the scrutineers where they check that it's one in the right category and that the information that's been given on cost, because we've got different price point categories, you have to enter into the category. So you might have someone that enters a house into a price point category, but it should be in the show homes because it's actually a show home open to the public, or it's a builder's own home, but he enters it into a price point where actually it should be in the builder's own home. So sometimes people have a little bit of confusion.
Right.
Also too, now with the lifestyle awards, we used to have to opt in, now you're automatically in, which is great because we'd be judging a house in the past and there's so many wives and office ladies have been blamed for the fact that the kitchen hasn't been entered. So
Right.
That's good to see that doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
So it goes through the scrutineering process where the quantity surveys also check the costings to make sure that it's actually in the right category. So there is a bit of stuff that happens behind the scenes.
Right.
So
is that those price categories, are they build cost rather than house value?
build cost,
Build
yeah.
cost.
So there's exemptions that you can take out, and that's quite clear on the application. And if you don't know that, the branch will really help you with it. If you've got foundations that are extreme because of location, or some stuff that has to go in because of location. You might be 1 kilometre in the driveway, so therefore then your power and things like that cost so much more to get in. So there's exclusions you can do. And then once all that information is all confirmed, that's when the judges get all that information. So we do a lot of prep work before we actually rock up to the house. So all that information they supply, all the figures, the comments about what the cladding is, who the designer was, the plans, all that sort of stuff. We have that, and we go through that before we turn up at the house. So that's why it is worthwhile submitting it, because we do use it.
Sure. And there might be some listeners currently going, "Oh, wow, that sounds like a huge amount of work." Like all good things in life, they tend to require a bit of effort. I'd give the builders some guidance that think about this as part of your marketing, because
absolutely.
the prep, even regardless of whether you win an award or not, just the prep you do around thinking about how well you've built the house, what you did, how you did it, they are great for articulating to your next prospect that you're going to build for, actually what you're thinking and how you're going to build for them, right?
I think some builders probably underestimate the power of the competition. It's a huge marketing tool that they can use. And so once they've got that brief, once they've got the photos, once they've got that stuff, use it on their website, use it on their social marketing. There's so much way that they can actually use that. So yes, there is a little bit of work involved to get there, but the benefits that you'll get out of it are endless and ongoing for a number of years to go forward. I mean, we've had builders comment to us that they entered a property 5-8 years ago, and some clients have just come with a scrapbook with a photo of that house. It's not like Black Friday sale where you're going to go out tomorrow and buy a pair of shoes. You're going to store that information away. So never underestimate who watches. People from overseas follow the competition and say when they're returning to New Zealand, I'm going to use that builder. I like that house. I like what they did. They really follow the competition. So never ever underestimate the power of the competition and who follows it and what they can get out of marketing for it. So a little bit of effort at the start. Can be a bit stressful, but persist with it because your benefits will be great.
Yeah, and as you're suggesting, over a long period of time, huge duration. Yeah, so great reward for effort.
And make sure, any award's a good award, whether it be a bronze, silver, gold, or supreme, and make sure that they put that on the website. They put the sticker on the truck. You go to the supermarket and probably, I don't know what the figures are, but I'd say 80% of bottles of wine bought are bought by the fact they've got a gold award sticker at the supermarket. Make the most of the marketing, put the stickers on the truck, make good use of everything that's available.
Leverage it.
Yeah,
makes sense. Okay. I am interested in the response to the question you had, what happens if the owners have painted some horrible colours inside the house? What do you say?
Well, it's one of those things taste is an interesting thing, but some stuff we can look past, obviously. It's a paint colour, okay? You might paint it black-white. I might be sick of looking at black-white, but it's black-white. But if it's been painted beautifully and the cutting in's superb and the prep behind it's superb and there's no dents in the wall and the wall's straight and that sort of stuff, that's what we're looking at. We're not there to choose the colour. We're there to look at workmanship. It's a workmanship, craftsmanship competition. We're not there to judge on colour taste. Right. Of course, if you've entered in the interior design section in your region, if that was available in your region, and you've got a real mismatch of colours and you feel like nauseous when you leave, well, that you're obviously not going to do very well in the interior design. But if, in regards to craftsmanship, if that lime green paint is being executed beautifully, that's what the competition's about.
Okay, so I guess this also comes back to getting not just the builder but all their sub-trades on board with pre-construction phase. We're thinking that we may enter this house in House of the Year.
Yep.
So this is the level of execution, and hopefully they'd be asking for high levels of execution all the time, but actually just making the sub-trades aware that everything needs to be 10 out of 10 on this one.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. You'll see a lot of builders who will go back and prep a house before the judging. They might go back, and the mortified look on a builder's face when you're there judging, and you look around the corner and you shut a door and you see the piece of blue masking tape that's highlighting a defect that's meant to be thing, and their face just drops, and you just smile and go, purple masking tape this year, and they go, oh, they were meant to get that one, and they peel it off. People will go around and do defects beforehand and fix stuff up, but what you can't do is you can't get that hump out of the ridge before we come to judge. You can't fix the column that's twisted. You can't fix the brickwork which has been laid poorly. That stuff should have been done right at the start. So if you enter into the competition, think about that house when you turn the dirt. Think about how the foundations are set out. Think about the fair face on the concrete, the brickwork, the roofing, all the exterior stuff that you can't go around and spend $3,000 to fix it up before it's judging. That stuff has got to be done right at the start, and get everybody on board. The plasterer, the painter, the bricklayer, the tiler, everyone, and then the end result will be fantastic. But you've got to pull all those people in together.
Mm. And assumably there's some flow-on effect for the sub-trades as well, where they can say, hey, we were the tilers, we were the painters, we were on that House of the Year winner.
Absolutely.
So if you can share that excitement and intent with the sub-trades early on, then it's going to be good for them to be involved too.
Well, that marketing does actually expand out because, as you're probably aware, they put out a book, and a regional and national book every year. And so the builders actually have the opportunity to advertise in that, and then obviously some of their sub-trades like the roofer or the brickie can actually advertise with the builder. So there is spin-off for them. And if that house ends up getting some huge accolades, well, then the bricklayer can go, they're my bricks. I put those up. That looks fantastic. That looks really great. So there is that real spin-off effect. So everyone being on board, for the journey is actually fantastic.
And what's the experience like for a builder when suddenly I've got these 2 House of the Year judges coming? Maybe the house kind of feels like one of my children,
yep.
And now this team's coming in to critique it. What insights have you had with people that have been in that position?
I must admit, this year has been hard for a few entrants. What's been really great in the areas that I judged this year, we've had a lot of new entrants. And because of COVID this year, at the last minute, we got bumped. So these poor guys had their first day ever being judged twice. But you rock up to a house and some of these people have not been judged before. Like you say, they're really nervous. They can't speak properly. They look like they've slept in the boot of their car. Sometimes they forget to do their flight when they've gone and had a nervous toilet stop before we arrive. We're all different people, the judges. We do have different personalities. Anyone that's been judged by me knows that I probably speak too much and probably should shut my mouth a little bit more often. But we're not ogres. We're there to judge the house. But the builders are really nervous and we try and put them at ease. But it's passionate. It's their baby. They've loved this house. They've got to the end result and now they're nervously putting it up before their peers to be judged, which is a really hard thing. And it is really tough on them. And so hopefully, they do enjoy the judging experience once they sort of relax. And that's why we sort of suggest, if you've got stuff to tell us, write a list. It's like going to the doctor, you need to write it down so you can tell us before all the information. We often get told snippets at the end when we're sort of getting in the car because they've relaxed and then we're going, oh, I forgot to tell you, blah, blah, blah. So write a list to tell us, and then especially if you're nervous, then you're not going to forget to get all the information through to us. So, but hopefully they'll enjoy the experience. But it is nerve-wracking. We're seeing some poor, very stressed people, and owners too, because they're very proud of their house. And whether it's a small, humble retirement home, but they're passionate about it. So they want the builder to do well with their entry of their house, and so it is very, very nerve-wracking for them.
Do the builders typically engage with the owners about entering the house? Do they say, do they need to seek permission? How does that work?
They do need to seek permission, and I mean we are very respectful when we're in people's houses because. Sometimes we'll be opening and shutting cupboard doors to make sure the handles are not going to fall off and that sort of thing. So, we're seeing the owner's stuff. I mean, we go into every room of the house. We open drawers and cupboards and stuff like that. So, yes, the builder does need to seek the owner's permission. It's a written part of the application. And then the level of information that's given out can be restricted too, because you can imagine some people don't want information given, and we've had homeowners that have actually dropped art out or restricted photographs so that, cars in a garage won't be shown and things like that, so their privacy is maintained.
It's great that the competition's respectful of that.
It has to be, because if the homeowner doesn't want to give permission, we won't have a competition. So we've really got to respect the homeowner's wishes in that respect.
And you talked about how much the competition has evolved and new categories that have come in. What else, theme-wise, trends, what are you seeing in the sector that House of the Year also takes account of? We
do look at the market, the fact that we've introduced a multi-unit, because multi-units now are like 30% of the building consent applications. So, we need to address those sorts of things. I suppose the other thing that we see is the sort of changing trends from building across the years and how things have changed. The passion of timber at the moment, I think, is fantastic. With the sort of mid-last century revival, we're seeing timber, and the thing that I love about the fact that we've got so much more exposed timber, it's just a minefield for the builders to show their craftsmanship. The level of accuracy and detail in timber work has been stunning that we've seen this year. But if it wasn't there and we had painted white walls, there's nothing for the builder to showcase their craftsmanship. So that, because we've lost architraves in so many occasions to have like featured timber ceilings and staircases and things like that now, where a builder can really, really show their craftsmanship, I think it's really stunning. So things are evolving. I mean, it's great to see now that people are building well above building code. The building code is the minimum in New Zealand, and it's too easy to build to the minimum. It's so great to see the trend in people saying, actually, I want quality, I want better living environment and stuff like that through. So it's good to see that stuff's evolving through across the industry as well.
What are you seeing in the sustainability area?
I look at some area that is growing. We need to be doing better in New Zealand than what we are with sustainability. And sustainability is a really broad word that covers so much stuff. We need to look at the carbon footprint, but we need to look at buildings that they are healthy buildings that we live in, and that they provide longevity to the building, provide a better environment for the people to live in. So we are seeing people speaking insulation, where people are looking at different alternative ways of heating, designing buildings. Some of the buildings are getting built smaller again, which is nice to see, and just designing much more efficiently for the environment, for sun, all those sorts of things. So it is evolving. We've got a long way to go in the construction industry, but we are certainly getting better at it.
Construction waste is a real challenge.
Thing. It is a huge thing.
It's a huge percentage of our waste overall. Yep. Is anything like the process around how it was waste out on the site, is that part of the judging?
We do ask that under sustainability, and we have seen a few more innovative initiatives actually coming through. A lot more stuff is getting sent back to be recycled. Some stuff is being turned down in regards to products used, looking at demolition of the building in the future. So sort of polystyrene is going to be reduced a little bit more. But waste is a big problem. But it is something that people are trying to address, trying to recycle timber, use all the last of it. Board is getting recycled in certain parts of the country. So there is stuff that is getting recycled for waste. A long way to go, but it's a start, baby steps.
Absolutely. Progress, not perfection.
Yep.
I like it. Okay, the House of the Year competition for this year is well underway.
Yeah.
Winners to be announced.
So the virtual events for all the regions have all just been finished. The last one was Auckland this week, last Saturday night. So it's great this year that we've managed to have a competition. It's been virtual, but there's been several times during the lead-in time that we were all thinking, would we have a competition? So when the last house was judged, we had a competition, which was fantastic. So I think today, being the 1st of December, the top 100 Gold Reserve have been announced. So there'll be a few happy campers, and there'll be a few probably disappointed people as well too, which there always is with a competition. That's how a competition rolls. But on the Friday, the 11th of December, is the national virtual event at 6:30. A positive out of COVID with the virtual events is that they can be shared. It's something that people can go over and over again and watch. So you can watch the Taranaki Awards because you weren't there, but they're virtual. So there's been a lot of positives that have come out of the fact they've been virtual events this year. So next Friday night is the grand finale, and we're all looking forward to it.
And is that virtual as well?
It is virtual as well.
Faye, as an entrant into House of the Year, what kind of feedback do you get once you've submitted, you've had the judging process? What happens?
It's a shame that we actually can't give feedback on the day because unfortunately we're not MasterChef. We don't have that opportunity to sort of line the poor builder up and go, hey, if your painting was better, and I can see that you've got passion because your grandfather gave you a hammer when you were 4. So unfortunately we don't provide written feedback. With sort of over 400 entries in the competition, it'd be a huge undertaking to give written feedback, and sometimes that can be taken the wrong way. But what they do get as an entrant is a bar graph, and that will come out after the national awards. So don't be despondent. In fact, it's a bar graph. It's a bar graph. But there's a lot of information in that. It's broken down to all the criteria that we judge under. So under structure, workmanship, finishing, products, design, all this. It's broken down into all the categories. And it will give you your score and the average score of your region and the national score. So it might go, okay, so finishing, actually we're a bit low on that. So wonder why that is. So use that bar graph, go back to the house and go, oh, actually, if I'm a bit critical, actually the tiling was quite bad, painting was a bit off, so actually we are down on finishing. Structure, oh look, we've done really well on structure. You know, we are pretty true, straight, really good lines. So really make use of that bar graph and sort of see where it is that you can.
And have you seen entrants enter the first time, get some learnings out of the process, come back the next time bigger and better? And
absolutely.
perform better?
I mean, how the house is judged is actually on the website, and how those scores are broken down is on the website as well too. So there is actually quite a bit of information on the website. So go in there and spend a bit of time. It's not a quick 5-minute job. Go in and spend a little bit of time about it. But we have seen entrants improve, which is actually fantastic. You know, we do give out non-awards. That does happen. If it's not deserving award, it's not a Weet-Bix triathlon. Not everyone gets an award. You know, if it's not deserving award, it won't get an award. But I do know of situations where people have been given non-awards or bronzes, and the next year they have come back, they have learnt, they've become a bit more passionate about it and probably a little bit more focused on it, and understand that it is a really evolving competition. You know, the level of workmanship and craftsmanship is just evolving every year, where it's getting better and better and better. And you can't come in mediocre thinking you deserve a gold. It's just not how it works. If we did that, we'd devalue the competition. So, you know, to get a gold award is really good. To get a bronze award is really well done. It's 50% above the industry standard. So there's a lot to learn from, you know, entering and then entering again.
And that website that you're referring to, that's House of the Year.
House of the Year website, yep. If you click through the icons, you know how it's judged, it shows you the score sheets and it gives you a breakdown of what's under those. So it's really worthwhile. And then if you go to the heads up, that's also talked through there as well, and your branch would also be able to help you. You know, the branches are great in regards to, and your RSMs are fantastic.
Yes, yeah, so much knowledge and insight in that group and inside the branches to be able to get going.
Yeah.
So closing thoughts, Faye, what would you suggest to someone who's sitting out there going, oh, maybe, might do? What would you say to them?
Do it. You'll get business, personal growth from it. Your staff will love it. Treat it as a bit of team building with the staff. You'll gain so much out of it, even just the whole process, coming to the event, looking at the other things that are judged, comparing your entry against other entries, and the marketing you get from it. It is so worthwhile. It's a wonderful, wonderful competition. Master builders do so well with the House of the Year competition, and you know, every builder that's been a part of it has certainly got benefit from it. Enter. Yeah.
And Faye, if someone was looking for great guidance on brilliant design for their next project, how would they get in touch with you?
Oh gosh, good question. I'm listed on the websites. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Look, Faye, thanks so much for joining us. It's such a great event that Master Builders runs.
Yeah.
We are often talking to construction business owners about the power of marketing, what they can do to get more sales in the door.
Yeah.
This is certainly one of those very, very good vehicles to enter alone, gives you good guidance and starts you thinking down that track of what makes a great house. Then being able to leverage any awards you win in the market are just absolutely brilliant. So likewise, from a business owner perspective, I'd really encourage people to get involved and go for it as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Plus you get to put on a penguin suit one night, don't you?
And hopefully too.
Yeah. Virtually, do people dress up for the virtual event?
A lot of branches have actually put on events this year. I know Christchurch had one, the art gallery, we had a cocktail evening. Some have used this year and actually done it as a Christmas function as well too, a 2-for-1 deal. So a lot of business owners have been pretty happy about that. But yeah, no, there's a lot of events have been held, even though the fact we're virtual. So it's been a great year.
Awesome. Thanks again, Faye. Really appreciate you joining us and sharing your knowledge and insights on House of the Year.
Thank you for asking me to come along.
Pleasure.
It's been great. Thank you very much. Cheers.